What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Hyperspace Hype. We're on episode 17 now, which is pretty insane. We got another packed discussion for today's episode, amongst other things. So, plenty to discuss, but also joining us, as always, full crew. We got Evan.
Hey guys, I'm having a pretty great week so far. Like Better Call Saul finale was this week. Loved it. We had a great Survivor episode on Wednesday, and then we capped it off with the great, probably an all-timer episode of the Clone Wars. So I can't wait to talk about it all with you guys. I took a lot of notes on my second rewatch, so very excited. Can't wait. Let's go.
Also joining us, we got Carson.
Yes, an all-timer episode. Like, I've already watched it twice, and I actually went back and watched episode 9 just to lead into this episode again, just because of how great the payoff is. And we're only 2 episodes into the arc, but yeah, it's been a pretty great week. I'm so excited to break down this episode. There's so many parallels, so many speculative things about where this is going in terms of crossover with Revenge of the Sith, as it's already gone through this timeline. It's gone so many things, but we'll break it down. But I'm just excited to be here.
Also joining us, we got Brandon.
Yeah. Hey, everyone. Like everyone said, though, definitely a keeper episode. There's a lot to cover. I've seen it 3 times now, so I have a lot of notes to go over. Yeah.
Good for you.
I have a lot of notes to go over, so I'm really excited to talk about it with you guys. And so let's get into it.
All right, so similar to last week's episode, we're gonna go step by step along with the episode. Today's episode was The Phantom Apprentice. Great title.
Ooh.
Really stunning way it just kicked right off. The Lucasfilm logo, once again, classic, but also just straight up Clone Wars. Wasn't going back or anything. No music. It was just coming back with the lightsaber hums right back where we left off previous episode. No intro.
Yeah.
See, that's where you know they're just gonna bridge it into one movie.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It just goes part 2. Boom. I was like, all right.
I didn't even realize it till you just said it, Nathan, that we didn't get like a previously on the Clone Wars or whatever they do for that stuff.
Mandalore under siege, you know.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it was great. Just right off the bat, just Maul walking around because he's got the upper hand currently.
Yeah,
got Ahsoka pinned. Kind of slowly revealing that Maul not only wanted Kenobi, but he wanted Anakin there as well, which seemed odd because you would have thought just like Obi-Wan revenge, but it goes a little bit deeper.
Yeah, his intentions were twofold. I didn't really, because I was so enamored by the episode the first time around. I was like, oh my god, what is happening? But the second time around, I was like, oh, he wanted to pull Anakin off to throw off Sidious's trail of, basically. So we talked about last week of like, oh, we're speculating, how much does Maul know? Apparently, not specifics, but a whole lot still that he kind of understands that it's going to be a huge shift, and he kind of knows some of the pawns that are in play, but I guess he doesn't know like when. I think.
Yeah.
I think he picked it up. I think the moment he picked it up, I think it actually showed at the show. He picks his head up like he senses something in the Force, where he's like, I sense things are rolling now. I think he sensed Count Dooku's death.
Oh, interesting. I didn't even think of that. I thought he was just having like an epiphany or kind of like remembering.
Yeah, well, also we get a few lines about how he's God, what's the dude that gets captured?
Jesse.
That's
Jesse.
Yeah. So no, not Jesse. The
Almec.
He's like, he's had this sense of dread for weeks. He's had this vision, and of course, we get the line during the fight of like your vision are mistaken or something. Your vision is wrong.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just really interesting, of course. And then we get a Dryden Voss cameo, and we see like his play with the syndicates, and like I love his little rallying speech with the Mandalorians. Right after that, like kind of like we need to seize power. And I saw some good parallels going around on Twitter today, like your people aren't ones to like cower in the pipes or something. And of course, cut to post Return of the Jedi, Mandalorian, literally down in the, which I thought was interesting. And it's like Dave Filoni is just stringing all together these different things, and it's working really well in this arc.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. That was a very interesting parallel.
My
I love
first
how
two view-
successfully we're going chronologically with this episode.
Yeah, I want to go back in a second. Yeah.
But yeah,
Sorry.
my first two viewings, I pick up on that, and then I ended up turning subtitles on to just like fully read everything.
I did too.
And that's when I picked up on it. I'm like, wait a second, the Mandalorians and Mandalorian did the same thing.
Yeah. But at the very beginning, I want to talk about how it's very interesting that. So this is twofold here because last week I was asking like, what is Maul's mission here? What makes it so different from what we've seen before? Because I talked about how Sam Witwer was really hyping up Maul being such a different kind of character, and this time he's going to be has different plans going on.
Oh, totally.
But last week all we saw was he just wants Kenobi. I'm like, that's kind of the same Maul we've been seeing everywhere else. But right off the bat in this episode, I think right off the bat, he mentions Anakin, or throughout the episode, I guess he mentioned Anakin. And it's interesting that Maul, as a character, hasn't met Anakin or Ahsoka. I wrote this down in my notes. Like, the audience at this point knows maybe more about Ahsoka than Maul does. And it seems like the kind of thing that, oh, wait, Maul should already know who Ahsoka is, especially having just watched, or at least the audience. We know, we see Rebels. We know that Maul and Ahsoka have this relationship. But funny enough, like, Maul doesn't really know who Ahsoka is at this point in the timeline. So it's very interesting seeing Maul.
Well,
kind of
going back to what you're saying about what Witwer was talking about all the way back at Chicago, was that Maul kind of has a different perspective. I think the very fact of even investigating who Ahsoka is and getting that angle kind of shows he's different and not so hell-bent on the Kenobi thing. Yes, of course, he's still on that, but I think he makes it very clear in this episode, not only... we have that. I'm not going to skip all the way to the last line, but he has other things that he's like kind of like concerned about, which is it's very tragic. We'll talk about that more.
Yeah, we'll talk about that tragedy of Darth Maul later on.
But man, when he's hanging there at the end, it's just like
yeah. So it was actually like I found it cool that like while Ahsoka's on the defense, like right from the intro. Maul is like, he's taunted about Kenobi, but even though Ahsoka, less wanting to refer to him as master back on the ship in the argument, to his defense calls him Master Kenobi.
Oh, good call. Yeah,
I thought that was cool. But then she ends up tracking or sending out beacon to Rex, and they come on in, and the clash starts immediately, and I initially thought the battle was happening right away.
Yeah. Before we get to the battle, though, before this happened, he name dropped Darth Sidious.
And he was kind of scared to say it.
He was kind of scared to say it. And Darth Sidious is kind of an awesome thing because even in The Last Jedi, when Luke mentioned Darth Sidious, it kind of gives the audience chills. As soon as you kind of hear that name, it gives everybody chills because how powerful he is. He, especially like at this point in the timeline, he eventually wins. So it's very kind of foreboding here. But yeah, I also thought it was interesting how Ahsoka asked him, like, what is your end game here? Because you won't have, like, the controlling interest at all. And to Maul's credit, he says he doesn't really care about the controlling interest. That really caught me off guard there because Maul, prior to this, always seemed like the kind of guy who really wants a lot of power, especially like in season 5 and 6 when he was trying to get all those syndicates together so he can take down Kenobi, rule Mandalore. But no, after his beatdown with Sidious and Savage's death, he kind of doesn't want power anymore. He just wants like a little piece of the pie, and he also wants to cut Sidious down at the knees, as we'll get to later in the episode. But yeah, I liked seeing that Ahsoka recognizing who Darth Sidious, or recognizing the name Darth Sidious for the first time here. It's very fascinating.
I'm kind of sad for Maul here because like since Phantom Menace, like Maul's lines like at last we will reveal ourselves to the Jedi, last we will have revenge. Palpatine's revealing himself to the Jedi and having revenge without Maul. This was like Maul's MO from Phantom Menace all the way to...
Yeah, great call, dude. That's so tragic. Yeah, I guess Sidious is going on with his plans, and he kind of discarded Maul and continued on with his plans anyway. I mean, to Sidious's credit, as much as credit I'm going to give Sidious, he didn't expect Maul to die against Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan. Maul was stronger than Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon at that point, so... If I'm Sidious, I'm like, dude, I thought you were going to win. I didn't expect you to get cut in half by an angry Kenobi. So yeah,
he didn't expect him to die. And he didn't expect him to come back either.
Exactly. Good point. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like continue.
So it's it's interesting as it progresses forward. Later, they're in the throne room and they're looking at reports, and they even have Obi-Wan on hologram call, and
Crazy.
he's revealing that he's sent on the mission to go get Grievous on Utapau. So the same day of Order 66.
This is
So-
insane.
And just to kick off like the first set of depression emotions for Anakin. Just diving into how they've currently sent Anakin to spy on the Chancellor, and just it sucks because you know exactly where that's gonna go. So sad.
What
'Cause
I
I know-
love about this scene is we talked about last week. Ahsoka's not even attitude or sass towards Obi-Wan, but she's very much the dynamic of her respect for Obi-Wan is a little different, I would say.
Mhm.
And so we get from the point on where Obi-Wan's like, "Can I speak to Ahsoka alone?" We get this really tragic scene of like Ahsoka claps back and is like, "Hey, I'm not the one that should be relaying this to Anakin about the morals of what the council wants." And Obi-Wan kind of like sits back and realizes his ultimate mistake, and sometimes that the council is wrong. And that scene is just tragic. I mean, that could be the last time they talk. I don't know if it is, but
You're right. It very well could be their last scene together. And I really wanted to talk about that dialogue there between Obi-Wan admitting the council was wrong. This is why I really love Revenge of the Sith, and why I love Obi-Wan in Revenge of the Sith a lot, because him and Yoda, especially towards the end of that movie, they're really reflecting on the mistakes they've made, though it is tragic as it may because it's too late. Especially at this point, Obi-Wan's like, you know what, the council isn't always right, which is kind of a backwards thing that he does, like compared to last week where he was like, Ahsoka, like, we got to do what's right. Even then, I think you could tell Obi-Wan was kind of like, he acknowledged Ahsoka's hurt in her outrage there. But yeah, at this point, as soon as you see the hood, Obi-Wan's on Utapau. I was losing my mind at that point. But yeah, Obi-Wan, he realizes like, okay, maybe we're doing too much. And you kind of see that in Revenge of the Sith too, when he's talking to Anakin in the hallway. He's like, I know this isn't the best thing. I know Palpatine's kind of like your father figure, but we need you to spy on him for us. So it's very interesting. It caught me off guard when he told Ahsoka to relay that information. Maybe she can get closer to Anakin, which again is tragic. That's like the key word in this episode, tragic. Because I think, or episode 3 of this, part 3 of this Siege of Mandalore arc might surprise us, but I think Anakin and Ahsoka don't get that chance to talk, which makes it even more tragic. Like, what would have happened if Ahsoka had that chance to talk to Anakin?
Might have been able to sway him back. It was interesting to not only have Obi-Wan talk about Darth Sidious, the little stuff because Dooku brought it up in Attack of the Clones. But then I loved seeing Ahsoka's face when Obi-Wan revealed that Anakin killed Dooku. Like she was kind of taken aback because, I mean, really, besides that one dude in one of the Clone Wars episodes with Obi-Wan, I don't think
with the bomb,
Anakin,
right?
I don't really think a lot of people have been around to see Anakin kill straight up.
Yeah, Anakin doesn't really kill he killed a lot of people in the Clone Wars, but it's like usually he's with Obi-Wan, and usually it's in life and death situations. To be fair to Anakin, like I think he killed a lot of people in that slaving thing, and it's like, okay, well, they're slavers; it doesn't really matter. And of course, he kills a lot of droids too. But yeah, Ahsoka's hurt here is very palpable because as Jedi, you're just not used to like killing people on the spot. Like Obi-Wan had to kill Maul. But that was pretty much like a life and death situation, and that was before the Clone Wars, so Ahsoka never really saw that. I kind of compared it to like the anime My Hero Academia, where all the heroes are just supposed to be capturing people, not killing people. So it's kind of shocking when a hero kills somebody. And yeah, for Ahsoka, it really shocked her because that's her guy, that's her big brother.
Yeah, I find it's especially great like as it goes forward because even Ahsoka, just like Anakin in the film, kind of questions the whole morality behind spying on Palpatine since he's been so much like a mentor father figure. And it's great that even like from that point, Obi-Wan even tells Ahsoka, sometimes the council's wrong. Like he openly admits that. That was Very
yeah,
good.
and if we go back to last week, it kind of is an admission to Ahsoka kind of having a better viewpoint on things in the sense that Obi-Wan, she claps back at Obi-Wan last week, like, you're going after the Chancellor or whatever. You're going back for the Chancellor. And, granted that finally they're like taking notice towards him and suspicious, but at the same time, they're kind of, the Jedi Council is kind of just like so honed in on something, and it kind of reveals how like once they get so honed in on something, they're literally distracted from the entire rest of the galaxy.
Yeah.
And it's just a more testament to their failure. And you just see even that they are right to be suspicious, obviously, but it's like just the way of how they operate going from conflict to conflict. You just see why Ahsoka is so weary of, and why Obi-Wan kind of forfeits this conversation. It's just so interesting to finally see it play out like this from this perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then, lastly, it just really nails the point of why we loved, or at least I did, those 4 Ahsoka episodes where she was continuously getting doubts about the Jedi from another person's point of view. And then seeing that build up to the Siege of Mandalore in these moments, like last week and now this week with Obi-Wan, it really nails home why that arc was so important for her.
Absolutely.
I was actually looking back, and this at first, because this scene was in the trailer, Obi-Wan in the hologram when he was talking to Ahsoka, I thought that happened right after Anakin went to go see Obi-Wan after meeting with Yoda. Because I thought those two scenes would match up a little bit, but come to think of it, now that he's already gotten the assignment to Anakin and everything, he's about to go to Upal. It's a completely different scene, but you would think it would kind of match up. But
so this will be quite interesting how this plays forward. Real quick. Hey Brandon, address this comment.
oh yeah, it's a Galaxy's Edge version of a Coca-Cola shirt. So
Yeah, that's an Arabesque, right?
or
Yeah.
Perfect. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this moves forward. Because I'm also remembering, and there's only 2 episodes left, which is insane. More stuff from trailer we've gotten previously, which was just the Yoda Mace Windu lines around the holo table, which is from Revenge of the Sith. But I think that's the same day as Order 66. So I don't know if that's going to be.
It's a long day.
Yeah,
It's a long day.
Initially, what I was thinking is Order 66. I thought the episode was gonna pretty much end with Order 66, but I think it's and now that I'm remembering that scene's still to come, maybe it's going to pop up like halfway through the next episode.
I think so. I would expect so. Yeah, you're right. I'm kind of shocked we still haven't gotten Order 66 because there's this whole tweet thread last week doing the whole chronological order of Revenge of the Sith. And it was going through like day 1. Yeah, you saw that. So I didn't take a look at that to reflect on what happened this episode. But I guess this episode was just all in one day. And then the rest of it, because I know Order 66 and the events of that take place over a day or two, because it took Anakin attacks the Jedi Temple at night, and then it turns to day, and then a couple of days after that. So yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if this episode like kicks off like, even though it's like daytime in the throne room, I wouldn't be surprised if that's just the next day. And like I completely get like these events can take like over a day to do, since like Mandalore is like a big city. You got to like travel through it. So
pretty big city.
Oh, okay. So all right. Joseph just actually followed a couple of us on Twitter. He's actually mutuals with Evan. What's up, Joey?
Hey.
Joseph.
Oh, hey.
Yeah.
Oh, but, Joey. Yes. I know the guy. Great guy. Cool guy.
Something that I looked at as well. I'm trying to remember what it was.
The theme music? You're kind of like the music guy here.
I caught one.
I'll get to that in a minute.
Okay.
We got that Vader cue.
Yes.
I think from Almec right
that.
after he says Skywalker. Right after he gets shot.
Anakin death music.
Yeah.
Oh, and we heard Sidious's theme, of course, when Obi-Wan was talking about the Chancellor.
Yeah. A lot of great stuff. As it progresses, Ahsoka leaves Obi-Wan, and then we're leaning down to this injured clone, and he says how he took the trooper Jesse, which was one of the original troopers that's been around.
Can we talk about how eerie that pan-in
that
was
pan,
as well?
Beautiful.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and so I rewatched episode 9, and there's the same exact shot, except you don't see the carnage. So if you guys go back and watch episode 9, it's like it's pretty much empty, but it's like the same shot, like going down into that tunnel. And then get this episode, you see all the clones just wasted on going down into that.
Incredible. Yeah.
Oh God,
What?
Another heartbreaking sneak.
Oh, we forgot about that parallel in the tunnel.
Yeah. When Maul's
that.
running away and they turn the corner and they lose him. They turn the corner and Ahsoka is at gunpoint with Rex and the clone.
Horrible. I hate it. Thank you,
Why?
Dave Filoni, but ow.
Not ready yet.
I didn't realize that until Carson put that in the DMs. I was like, oh, I was driving too. I was like,
I was like, how dare you?
I was like, oh, Maul's gone. Wait.
Yeah, that's a great parallel. That's a good shot.
It hurts.
Wait,
Jesse's
is Jesse the same clone trooper from the Umbara arc?
I think
that's
so.
what I was trying to line up. It's like it's been so long since I've
It's been
watched
so
that arc.
long. I'm like, okay, Jesse. I think he was in the Umbara arc, and maybe, if correct me if I'm wrong, like the Fives arc as well.
He
Maybe
might
he
have
was in
been
that.
Fives. He definitely was in the Umbara.
Yeah, I feel like everybody was in Umbara arc.
You're right.
But yeah, what's next?
But yeah, then we see Maul has him pinned down, and he starts doing the mind probe thing, and he's just kind of being philosophical about how just clone troopers bred all part of the plan, the grand master plan to reshape the galaxy. Jesse devoted trooper, even though it's not going to last for much longer. Sad. I know.
They're gonna kill Jesse off next episode. Beginning of the next episode, he's just gonna get killed, and I'm gonna. Jesse's one of my favorite.
Address him ever again.
Jesse's one of my favorite clones. Don't kill him off, please.
I'm with Nathan. I don't think.
Nathan doesn't feel like they'll address him again. Nathan, the same guy who wants to every cameo ever in the next episode for Order 66.
Calcastus, let's go.
But I thought this whole scene was very interesting here because Maul's talking about the whole plan, the grand design he talks about here. And it was kind of interesting because we always talked about how much did Maul exactly know?
Right, how much does he know?
And at this point, I don't think he knew that much. To Sidis's credit, he was giving Maul and especially Dooku kind of like the big overall
picture
plan,
stuff,
big picture stuff. Yeah, he's like compartmentalization. He's not telling them the nitty gritty details. Especially
I
Dooku.
think it's only recently the Maul's kind of either putting it together that something big is or the turning point is coming, but also there's some really good Maul dialogue in this. I think Jesse says what plan, and he says the only plan, or something like that, or I can't remember if that's to Ahsoka. Or the plan. And then there's also, I love when he starts interrogating him. He's like, you either will tell me or your mind
will speak or it'll break.
Your mind will speak or it'll break. I was like, God damn, what a line.
Such a great line. In the voice acting throughout the episode, top notch.
Yeah, Whaler killed it.
I think this might be Sam's best, man.
I think so
it
too.
is. Right before they're when he's sitting in the throne still, either sitting in the throne or standing up, and he's talking to Ahsoka about you don't get it and stuff. That line delivery is just fantastic.
I love his little sarcasm, like when before Bo-Katan leaves the throne room, he's like, "Don't stay for me, we'll be fine."
It was almost unsettling how casual he was about it.
Yeah,
he's like, "You might want to tend to that."
But I think before this, his best performance had to be in the Twin Sons episode. When he's yelling Kenobi, and then when he's talking to Kenobi in such a solemn way. I loved that. But yeah, here he's just on top notch. And it's very interesting how he's interrogating Jesse about Ahsoka. Because all the theories were he's interrogating him about Order 66 or something big and important, maybe of the whole plan and stuff. But no, he just really wants to know about Ahsoka. And that comes into play during the whole throne room scene.
Oh yeah, and it's just great, the progression of the throne room scene. Probably some of the top throne room scenes in Star Wars. Just going through just speaking about how the galaxy is going to be remade, and even Ahsoka's just
oh wait, we're skipping over the whole prison part.
Yeah, I was about to say.
yeah.
I literally was about to say the same thing about Bo-Katan with the elevator because I need to bring up something for there.
They go
Oh,
right now after he interrogates Jesse. They go straight to the prison where Almac is.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. So
But also before that, when Maul is talking to the crime syndicates, I wept with joy at Dryden Voss. I was
Perfect. He had
so happy.
he had his hand on his chin. Total Dryden.
I leaned forward. I was like, hold up. And I it gets closer and I see that scarred Paul Bettany. I'm like, oh shit.
I was kind of looking at the I was looking at it. I'm like, wait, is that Hux? I'm like, no, let's Dryden Voss. Let's go.
Is that Hux?
Is Hux born yet?
Hux isn't even a thought. But yeah. I was like stunned for a second there. I was like, who's the freaking white guy over there? It's like, yeah, the Pikes, you have Black Sun.
Black
Who's
Sun,
that?
yeah.
And then Crimson Dawn. Yeah, that was a good shot. But
yeah. But yeah, then we get to Almac in prison and trying to figure out did Maul ever really talk about Darth Sidious? No, not really, but I know he wanted Kenobi and somebody else. And then it was revealed when he gets assassinated by Saxon.
He did the Yoda voice. Sky Walker dies.
And get the Anakin death theme, which is fascinating cue.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, it was a quick little the chimes. Yeah, but that was interesting because right away my initial thought was maybe Maul wanted to do with Anakin what he was trying to do with Dooku and Son of Dathomir and turn him to his side.
Maybe. Yeah. This is interesting.
I think at this point he thinks it's too late and anything is just delaying the inevitable.
Sure.
Honestly, I think he's just kind of bouncing around at this point.
Oh, yeah, he even brings up in the sewer system with the Mandos that the best chance we have is to just see some form of power within the chaos of the galaxy,
which he eventually kind of does.
Oh yeah,
but in this scene, Almac. Let me see my notes here. Almac is talking about Maul. He says Maul had a vision of Anakin, and that was kind of shocking to me. I'm like, so Maul had this whole vision of Anakin before the whole Siege of Mandalore ever happened. What did he exactly see in that vision, I wonder? Did he see Anakin executing Order 66? Or, later on, I think I put in my notes here, later on, he's talking to Ahsoka saying, he was bred, or he was fated to be this apprentice for...
Groomed
to be this apprentice for Sidious. So I'm like, okay, so did Maul see a vision of Anakin's life up to that point?
I think it's more broad. I think he also
broad.
says in the episode that, the dark side has never been stronger. So I think to that extent, maybe I don't know if up until that point he didn't know that Anakin was a huge factor or he did, but I think it was just an overwhelming sense of a dark side vision. I don't know if it would have been specifically on Anakin or just kind of it makes me think of a reverse, when Yoda senses everything in Order 66, it makes me think of a reverse that a kind of what is it? Doesn't Qui-Gon have a vision in Master and Apprentice where he kind of sees a prelude to everything?
Yeah,
and he's he wants to stop it. It's kind of a reverse of that where he just kind of feels this overwhelming I can kind of sense that something's gonna happen, but I don't know.
You remember?
I feel
maybe. Sorry, go ahead.
I feel maybe Maul probably did have some inkling about some of Anakin because he even brings up later how Sidious has been grooming Anakin the whole time to get him where he wants him to turn him over.
Right, and he even admits that Dooku and him were literally just pawns serving under a higher power, and he uses that as leverage against Ahsoka in the throne room, which is very interesting.
But is he wrong?
Not exactly.
And if Ahsoka was still old Ahsoka, I mean old in the sense that still under the Jedi Order, right. I don't think she would have played it the same way she did. She takes the bait, which is really interesting.
Yeah.
And for a second there, you're like, and then, she's like, but I have one question. And you're like, okay. So she's kind of just doubting him, whatever, obviously. Then she asks about Anakin, and then you're like, okay, now I see her angle. But I don't think she would have played it the same way. had we not seen that arc of 4 episodes.
Yeah, very key.
We also have to mention that elevator scene.
I was about to say that was so awesome.
It was. One thing that got me was as Bo-Katan was trying to catch the elevator, the video game Bounty Hunters theme was playing a little bit. Yes.
So
You're
random.
BSing me.
No, it literally plays for a few notes. I'm like, that's the
Video
Bounty
game
Hunter.
Bounty Hunters. That's incredible. That's awesome if that's true.
And then
Well,
you
I
also
believe you, yeah.
have, like, later on in the battle, there's like one of the sounds that Django makes of like one of the Mandalorians like getting killed. That's the sound like Django makes in the game.
Oh wow. Never played the game. I always saw the cover when I was like at a GameStop or something, but I never bought it.
I heard a Wilhelm scream, so that's nice.
Yeah.
I do too. But I'll go back to what Nathan was talking about with the Son of Dathomir comic. Two things. Like I like how Maul, similar to what Nathan said here, like Maul's talking to or thinking about Dooku, saying like we're always one step behind. Because in the comic, Maul was like berating Dooku about saying like, dude, why don't you just work for me? And Dooku's like, nah, dude, like I'm on like the higher power here. I'm on the right side of everything going on, which makes it even more tragic for Dooku as well. Because Dooku's the first one to get killed. Not even
Right
Maul.
off the
Maul
bat.
manages to survive.
Mhm.
But yeah, there's like the whole line in the episode where he's saying like, dang, Dooku and me, we're just the same. And I'm just like, yes, you guys are. And it makes it so much more tragic because Sidious is just ruining lives one step at a time before he gets to Anakin and ruins his life as well.
I hate him so much.
Yeah.
Do you hate him or Walter White more?
So yeah, it's fascinating, the dynamic, and just like the fact that it seems like that like they were almost on common ground, but Ahsoka explained her own angle about Anakin, and then she like definitely takes offense to even the thought that Anakin could turn to the dark side whatsoever. And then she ends up standing on the defense and engages her sabers.
We also got to mention the Republic rule beginning on Mandalore.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
and there is some
That
good
just-
context.
Right away, they look like the Empire already.
So I got a line here from The Mandalorian that kind of plays into it. Because if the Empire takes over Mandalore right there, Moff Gideon says, when gunships outfitted with similar ordnance laid waste to fields of Mandalorian recruits and the Night of 1,000 Tears. I'm calling it now, Order 66, the Siege of Mandalore, and like all these other like planets getting taken over by the Republic, now Empire, at the same time is going to be called the Night of 1,000 Tears.
Yeah, I
thought
can
was
see that, and
after-
also, I think this is as right after that, as the throne fight starts up. First, we get the line from, I saw this in the subtitles of one of the just citizens of like, just like we don't take orders from clones, as they're trying to like shepherd them into the I can't remember, like a safety area. But also we get a line from Maul up in the throne room about it's right after he's talking about like we both served something. He's like
two great powers.
The Republic, or the power, something that power is, it's just what comes next or something. And that kind of hit of like the transition hasn't happened yet, but the hold is already there. It's like we already
Definitely.
Since it plays in also to the fact that like these prequel stories of like we already know the end game, but like the fact that like now learning all these different angles from the characters, it makes it so much more interesting to like see how they feel about it, and see, especially Maul in this episode, to see that like, yes, he's trying to like play any last thing that he can, but he's given up at the end of the day. I would say his given up in the sense that like, he's like, I try to distract Sidious, but like he's still gonna take over. Like it's still happening. There's nothing I can do to stop it. And we even see that because he's actually pleading Ahsoka to come. He gives Ahsoka multiple chances to go with him.
Yeah.
Big Last Jedi vibes right there.
Really, I wanted to talk about the whole scene, but really before we start talking about the whole throne room scene, I liked seeing the whole Mandalorian and the Clone Wars occupation through Bo-Katan's eyes. I think the camera shoots over to Bo-Katan and she's looking down at all what's happening, and it kind of nails home like Bo-Katan's such a also tragic character because she's trying to save Mandalore back from the Mandalorians and save him from Maul, and then right afterwards, like hours later, she has to worry about Order 66, presumably, with the clones going AWOL. Then she probably has to leave Mandalore. I don't know, probably escape somewhere else. But then she has the Empire to worry about. And then we have, like what Brandon mentioned, the whole Night of 1,000 Tears stuff. And then we only finally get to see Bo-Katan get some semblance of happiness in season 4 of Rebels, where she gets the Darksaber and she can lead her Mandalorians. But even then,
it's just another dip in the roller coaster.
It's another dip, exactly, because Mandalorian tells us there was darkness after that. They didn't win that battle with the Empire, presumably, and then we don't know what happened with Bo-Katan after that. But yeah, Bo-Katan's just hopping from one carnage to the next. But back to the throne room. I love the whole parallel with whenever there's a throne room in Star Wars, there's always a battle going on outside of it. Like you see this in Return of the Jedi, and you see this in The Last Jedi. I guess you kind of see in Rise of Skywalker too, if that's really a throne room.
Yeah,
it's a throne, I guess.
There's a throne. It's in
a throne coliseum.
It's a throne in a room, yeah, in a big room.
Throne tomb.
But you see like the Resistance fighting the First Order, while you have Kylo and Rey fighting. And usually at these instances, you get the evil person say, "Hey, hero character, look at the window and see what's going on." But this time, since Maul is kind of like that anti-hero type character, that tragic character who's done a lot of bad stuff, but he kind of sympathized with him a little bit. And Maul's the one looking out at all the carnage, and Ahsoka's the one saying like, "Hey, maybe you should worry about me here. What's going on? Like, why'd you bring me here? And what's going on here?" So I found that to be very interesting.
Yeah, he says like, "Oh, look at them, so blissfully ignorant."
Yeah,
it's like fighting a battle that they don't even know has a resemblance towards the bigger picture, you know?
Yeah.
It's kind of like it's interesting because you see Maul like weed out the throne room. He's like, "Okay, I'm gonna send Jesse back and then, go back to your brothers." Like he pinpoints everybody's like weakness. And then he literally cuts to him like looking over, "Oh, you should go take care of that." And then Bo-Katan goes out. And then he doesn't even pay attention to Ahsoka, and he's just like,
nope.
It's crazy how good the writing is for Maul in this episode. Like it's sharply good. Like everything, every line is so perfect for Maul in this.
Perfect, yes.
I love the point when he's talking with Ahsoka, just like Ahsoka's like, "I want to bring you to justice," and he's just like, "Justice is just."
That's the line I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
Just like
just
a term
depending on who's in power. Like,
yeah, exactly. We're just two followers of two great powers. I love that line. Then
even like after that one, another great Maul line immediately after, Ahsoka's just like, we have to take down Darth Sidious before it's too late. And Maul like almost like offended, like, "Too late? It already is. You just don't know."
He's like, "Wait, what are you talking about? Yeah, it is too late.
It's over. We're
in the endgame."
Oh, it's so good, and just like the way the panic in Sam's voice and his delivery is just so good.
Especially by the time they get up to the higher part of the fight. And I love just they're like about to fall, but like it's just crazy that I love. There's some great lines up there. Ahsoka saying like, or Maul's trying to like convince her again. She's like, "Yeah, for you just to replace Sidious when we take him down."
Right.
Like I love that line. And then, but before we talk about any more of the fight, I think we should just mention the mocap stuff and the Ray Park stuff, because that was such a big thing coming out of Celebration. It's mind-boggling.
It's insane how beautiful. It just you're watching animation, but it's never looked so grounded in like the weight of it. Like you feel the movement.
Yeah, the thing that gets me is like you can see Ray Park in there because I've seen his like he uploads regularly like his on Instagram of those types of videos. You can see him like the types of moves he makes. Like I'm like that's
his shoulders, man. Just the way he moves his and even ignites his lightsaber and spins around. You're like, "Oh, that's Ray Park." Like
Yeah, the way he was handling that double-bladed lightsaber was
Yep.
different from how we saw him all. I mean, he never really handled a double-bladed lightsaber in the Clone Wars before this, but the way he was handling it was, oh yeah, and in Rebels, the way he was handling it was just so much like the Phantom Menace. So it was awesome. Like he was using a lot of the same moves. Both him and Ahsoka were using moves that you've used before in their previous fights.
Yeah, and Ahsoka
Oh, yeah.
pokes fun at it, and it's hilarious because
it's
he's like,
great.
"You're lucky Anakin's not here."
Yeah, I put that in my notes too because I was like, when they were talking, his plan was to bring Anakin and Kenobi here, and then to kill Anakin. And then was he and Kenobi going to try and defeat Sidious? Was he going to
I
get
had a
Kenobi the
thought
same
with
offer?
that.
Yeah,
I feel like my initial thought is like, okay, well, if Maul was gonna kill Anakin, I don't think he would have teamed with Kenobi. I think that would just be yet another deep cut of like, yeah, okay, so I've killed his master, I've killed his love. Why don't I kill the guy that's essentially his brother / almost son?
Oh,
But I mean, but there's
okay.
also an ulterior motive to that, like because he
Well, yeah.
still wants to make sure, like because he knows what's coming because
Yeah.
who told him.
Right.
He wants to weaken Sidious.
He
for
wants
sure.
to cut him off at the knees. Yeah. But yeah, so you're right, Nathan. I mean, like, I feel like killing Anakin is a what's it called? Two birds with one stone kind of thing, where
Yeah.
he's cutting Sidious off at the knees while also wounding Kenobi. But I think he would have gave Kenobi the same line that he's given to Ahsoka. Do you think? I mean, are we supposed to believe that? Because are we supposed to believe that that Maul was going to kill Anakin and Kenobi? Like,
I don't even
is
know
Maul
if he was
that
going to kill.
confident?
Well, okay. What was Maul's plan for Obi-Wan back when he killed Satine?
That's what
He,
Like,
I
he
think,
just
I think
wasn't
he's
gonna
going
let
to
him.
hurt him.
Yeah, like so. I figure it would be another thing of letting him live in suffrage.
Interesting. So you don't think he would have? You think this whole join me thing was only because Ahsoka came into play, not because?
I
that was his
think
original
so
plan?
because I feel like once he learned through the clone who Ahsoka was, and he has the info of how like you were cast out from the Order and stuff, like he really sees like almost himself in her. So it seems like more like a better chance to bring someone on to go up against Sidious again. You know, kind of like he was doing for Dooku, and I'm sure he sees more of a disciplined warrior in Ahsoka compared
Yeah.
to Savage.
I mean, that's a great counter. Yeah, I totally agree with that now. Because I was watching the episode, I'm like, okay, so what was Maul's plan before Ahsoka came into play and after Ahsoka came into play? But yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
And I feel
like
like
that
when
line.
it comes,
Yeah.
to Obi-Wan, if Obi-Wan had come, he would have wanted him to live a long life of suffering like he was in the slumps
Okay.
forever ago.
Which makes a lot of sense given what Maul does after the Siege of Mandalore. But yeah, I like that line during the whole join me scene because he says like we're both cast aside, and Dave Filoni mentioned this today. He was saying how Maul was cast aside by the Sith. Ahsoka was technically cast aside, even though she left. She was technically cast aside by the Jedi. So there's a lot of stakes going into this join me scene, which I love. Because prior to this, I think in the trailers and the previews, or probably the pictures, we saw that like Maul was going to give the whole join me scene to Ahsoka. And I was kind of weary. I'm like, what are the stakes here? I mean, like in The Last Jedi, you see a lot of stakes. You think Rey is going to take Kylo's hand because at that point, why not? Especially after Rise of Skywalker, why not? But like Rey had a lot of stakes, and there's a lot of emotional stakes within taking Ben's hand in The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
But I'm so happy they replicated that in the throne room here because there's a lot of stakes for Ahsoka too. If she takes Maul's hand, granted you can't trust Maul at all.
Yeah.
But if she takes Maul's hand here, he makes a good point. We could wound Sidious and probably restore order. But as we see later on in the fight, Ahsoka's probably like, you just would have replaced him anyways.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
One thing I love is when this fight starts.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so here's my theory on this. Like people have said otherwise because like about glass shattering in the Mace and Palpatine fight as the same. People are saying it's shattering at the same time as it does in this, but it takes place before the battle. But right as soon as Maul lunges, he makes that growl. Like you can hear that growl that Palpatine makes when he does that little flippy do spin.
I like to think
And-
that's echoing across the galaxy.
I'm telling you, man. Like
I heard it too. Yeah. As
telling
soon as you mentioned that on Twitter, I was listening out for it in my rewatch. I'm like, oh, Brandon was right because you hear as soon as he comes in for that first lunge.
yeah, look, I'm telling you, like Maul did not make that noise. I'm just gonna say that noise echoed throughout the galaxy. It's just a menacing noise. Like, shit, the Emperor is like becoming
Revealed himself.
He reveals himself.
So you're thinking that takes place at the same time as that makes
It's got to. It's got to.
I don't know if it's the exact same time. I feel like take like a bit of time to echo, but like soon after.
Does he launch Order 66 during? Is after this, right?
It's after Anakin turns. And
after Anakin turns.
Yeah.
You're
looking at like
for a while.
Yeah. You're looking at like 10 minutes time from that happening in Order 66 beginning. So
10 minutes.
Like he gives Anakin the mission to go wipe out the remaining Jedi, and then he calls on Order 66, which I'm sure is what gets Anakin to lead the march.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
let's talk about the fight.
Let's talk about the fight. And the motion capture is fantastic. Ray Park did incredible. Also wanted to give a shout out to Lauren Mary Kim. She did the motion capture for Ahsoka in the fight.
Oh yes, great.
Yes,
also really good.
Fantastic. It's so good. Just like all the steps and even like the camera framing. It feels
beautiful.
So different from any other animated fight that we've seen. And just like all the different flips and intricacies that aren't too over the top because it's like real people. But I love the point when Ahsoka's saber gets knocked down and she grits it back like a arrow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Maul flips right over.
You see Maul's eye line, look back at it real quick and be like, okay, I gotta dodge this.
And also just talking about this fight, it's both. I tweeted this out. It's both a fight and like a conversation. These are the best Star Wars fights. There's lots of pausing. There's lots of walking around in circles and taunting and like quipping at each other and trying to convince each other to make choices. And it's just a really good Star Wars fight that it takes time and build up, and I think it just earns that last moment with Maul so well. And the final shot of this episode is so effective. Like, I love the broken glass of just like everything just being shattered, and just like the world about to just be decimated by this huge event looming on the horizon. It's just so perfect how everything's framed and all builds up to that moment.
I didn't even think about the whole symbolism with the glass shattering, kind of like the whole.
And it happens a couple times in the fight.
Yeah,
especially because Ahsoka jumps through, like,
she pushes him through
Maul,
the glass.
Yes, and then she jumps through there, and then the final shot of like the glass looking up.
When he was tossed through the window, I was like really like thrown off. I was like, oh, and like
I didn't expect the fight to go outside. I mean, I kind of did, but
I know it's funny because like
I didn't.
Once they're outside, we have not seen any marketing in regards to how the duel goes.
Right,
after the throne room. So I was like, don't even know what's gonna happen.
But I just want to comment how I love the way Ahsoka fights against like a physically stronger opponent, because I was rewatching the Ahsoka versus Vader fight, and she kind of fights, like I was saying earlier, very similarly. Like when she grabs her saber back, she starts like pushing them up a little bit, but then when he starts aggressively like pushing her forward, and she has to backflip like 3 times. I wonder if the stunt actress actually did the whole backflip 3 times.
See, it looks like a mocap flip, because I've seen like Ahsoka flip
in Rebels
and just like regular cartoon. It's completely different.
Okay.
I'd also like to mention that Duel of the Fates kind of gets put in just slightly here and there. Can you guys hear it?
Yeah, a little bit. I heard it more during the
outside
second part of the fight, than the first part. But the way she fights is so skillful. I love it, and because a lot of people were complaining before this fight, like, how can Ahsoka fight somebody as skilled as Darth Maul? But I think she's very. That's why I love Ahsoka. She's very careful of which kind of fighter she's going against. She fights differently when she's fighting Grievous compared to when she's fighting.
And we also just need to address all this stupid stuff going on Twitter today, like, Maul could have just cut the middle and she would have felt. Just stop. You're playing yourself. You're actually playing yourself if you think that like Dave Filoni ruined Maul. This is like one of the strongest Maul episodes in terms of characterization that we ever got. Like the fact that you're judging him on one moment when he in that moment still thought that there was at least something left in Ahsoka that would maybe join him in that moment. Obviously, he wasn't just there to kill her. The whole episode, he's literally trying to convince her after he learns of who she is. I don't know. It's just frustrating to see like them work so hard to characterize Maul's tragic arc one way, and then for him to be like, interpreted as like some just like, oh, he's like this badass powerful dude, and then like the fact that like he's pitted against Ahsoka and like doesn't hold his ground nearly as much as we thought it to, and that's like all Maul is. Like I just think it's such a silly thing to get all worked up about.
Did they watch Phantom Menace?
Yeah, did they
Right,
see
it's
Phantom
like-
Menace when he fought a Padawan?
And Lost. I know.
Lost.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I feel like it's in his Maul's nature. Like in Phantom Menace, like he could have just slashed Obi-Wan right away, but like
Easily.
he's a taunter kind of. He wants like the satisfaction of it kind of, and even like in Ahsoka, he could cut the beam, but no, he wants to like slice her down.
Yeah, I tweeted out earlier this week. That's why I love Star Wars fights. There's always something in particular about it where any fighter can win on a certain given day, given the emotion, given the stakes, given the environment. Just look at Obi-Wan versus Anakin.
Yeah.
Anakin in Revenge of the Sith is at his prime. He could have killed anybody he really wanted to. Even Mace Windu, I think. He had more skill than Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah.
But why did he lose? Because Kenobi is like the perfect.
Kenobi outsmarts.
Kenobi outsmarted him, and he uses Anakin's anger and his emotions against him. So
Actually, it was the high ground.
I didn't want to say that.
Did Ahsoka kind of had the high ground a little bit?
Yeah, it went back and forth there. Anakin, between Maul and
so
Ahsoka.
Okay, well, a couple things. Like when they do get to the beams, just like right away, like the Mandos are getting pinned down, and Saxon's on the comm, like we need assistance, and he's just like, yeah, I think not. My ship's like right around the corner.
Yeah, what does he say? Like die.
He's like die on a Mandalorian.
Yeah,
that honestly is like the perfect line of Maul's state of mind. Just like, all right, I've used you. Goodbye. Like I'm on to my next gig.
Because he knows if he stays there, he's fucked.
He's done. Yeah. I mean, which is kind of parallels Sidious. Kind of tossed him aside, just like Sidious tossed Maul aside.
He really
the
is
main
a
person he's criticizing.
Sidious with his orchestrations.
Right. Yeah. In a lot of ways, he's becomes the abuser even when he doesn't see it.
Exactly. Which makes it again super tragic. But I also wanted to mention this because Gar Saxon, he's feeling so helpless. Like he's looking around, he's seeing all his Mandalorians get literally slaughtered now by the cloned and now the reinforcements from the other Mandalorians. So you kind of get that picture of why Saxon so easily hooks up with the Empire right after this battle. Because like this is a guy who's seen his brothers, the Mandalorians, die right in front of him. So of course he's going to team up with Sidious and the Empire and work for, I think it was called like the Empire's right hand or something like that on Mandalore. I forget the exact term for it. So yeah, he just goes from one power figure to the next because that's who Gar Saxon is.
This is what I wanted to speculate about. And I know we're not completely finished talking about the episode and our complete thoughts on it, but Maul is, captured for the moment. What do you guys think that's going to look like in terms of the Mandalorians either getting away or Maul, or how is it going to break up in the mix of Order 66? Like, what do you think is going to happen?
Well, I'd like to address that once we wrap up the episode.
Yeah, once we wrap up.
Okay, well,
we'll hold it.
Somebody actually sent in a prediction.
Oh, nice.
Oh, snap. So actually, it's great, the whole fight, just like the jumping from beam to beam, the unsteadiness of it. And it does get to the point where Ahsoka loses both sabers, so she's unarmed. And I love the way Maul gets knocked around. Is like Ahsoka catches his hilt and twists him, and he gets sent falling. And this is like probably like the best moment, or one of the best moments, when Ahsoka captures him, and immediately he's just like, "No, let me go, let me die."
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what the hell?
Oh man,
He wants to die. That's dark enough. But then as soon as the gunships come up and they open up to catch him, he's just screaming, "No, you're all gonna die. Everything's gonna burn." And he has such fear in his voice. It's terrifying. And as soon as he's like all wrapped up in the ropes, he's like, "You don't know what you're doing," and then he gets stunned.
Yeah,
horrifying.
It's incredibly haunting and chilling, and you kind of get the sense the whole episode where Maul was so foreboding this entire episode from the very beginning, saying like the plan's coming together, the grand whole plan's coming, and then at the very end he just loses it and he just says like, yeah, at this point, if I'm either I can escape or I die, and at this point he's about to die, and he really wanted to die at that point. It was very fascinating because Maul never seems like the kind of character to kind of give up like that, kind of like to lose his cool at that moment, and he totally did.
I think he feels like if he's captured by the clones, which he knows is a tool of Palpatine, he's just going to get it taken right back to him.
Yeah, that's a good point.
He's just
he doesn't.
Yeah,
go
he
back
keeps
there.
falling back into the same traps. It all leads back.
It all, yeah. This poor guy.
I'd like to bring up the fact Joseph brought it up too,
Mm-hmm.
that Ahsoka might not have her sabers when Order 66 starts.
Oh,
Because
wow.
we're like right here. It's here. It's like 2 minutes away.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's in the heart of clone territory. She's surrounded.
I feel like she has to maybe.
Yeah,
take her
because
back
now I'm
somehow.
vaguely remembering a Ahsoka novel.
Yeah, I want to talk about the Ahsoka novel at the very end of this because no spoilers. I mean, no spoilers now, but they completely changed the way the battle went about. From this
Right,
one to
and
the
I
Ahsoka
had to
novel.
go back to the passage, but yeah, it's totally.
But yeah, before this, real quick, when she's fighting Darth Maul, and Maul's like, "We could have ruled together," and Ahsoka's like, "You would have just usurped him or something. You would have just replaced him." Do you guys really think Maul would have done that? Do you guys really think he would have? Because at the beginning of the episode, he was like, "Okay, I just want to." Do you guys lose me?
I think he would have.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think
he usurped him.
I think he would have played it up until the very moment, and once he's too hungry for power, and that I think he just sees that power vacuum. And again, it's becoming the monster that he's a part of, or being, forced into and trapped into. I think it's the same temptation that we see kind of in The Last Jedi. It resonated to me if, Ben, don't do this. Like, granted, I don't think it's as, it's a different context and it's not as malicious in the sense that I think that Ben is trying to get away from Snoke more than Maul is trying to get away from Sidious in a sense.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot of parallels in the episode of The Last Jedi, but I think it's just interesting from a power struggle that I think, Maul preaches the whole episode. We have to seize power where we can, even though he knows he's on the losing side.
Yeah.
Yet I think if that advantage were to open up to him, I don't think he could have resisted.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying I think he would. I just make that clear. I think he also would. I think Ahsoka at that point was right. That's why Dave Filoni has Ahsoka say it. Like, you totally would have, because the hero is always right at that point. So Ahsoka can see right through Maul. Just want to make that clear.
Yeah. So come the end of the episode, Carson, you were asking how you think they'll deal with Order 66 with Maul.
Yeah.
I think he's walking right out of there. I think chaos will be. I honestly think so. I honestly think that Ahsoka is just going to be like absolutely overwhelmed, and I think everybody's going to be overwhelmed. But I think that it's literally going to be a fact of like it may be in plain sight of them just walking away because of how crazy everything is, which I think would be pretty effective.
I'm uncertain because I'm still in the mind that I don't know if the clones are going to differentiate between the Jedi and Sith.
Well, I don't think they still won't see Maul as a Jedi, but they still see him as an enemy of the Republic.
Yeah.
Either way, so he's still an enemy.
Right.
It was kind of like we were talking about last week. Like, did Sidious program that into the clones yet? Like, did he program in? Okay, Maul and the Mandalorians and the Mandalorians. They're
This
all
crusty man did not put me in the code.
Yeah,
it's a good point though, because we don't know like the specific like. Okay, if there's two people standing there, like what's it gonna the decision gonna sway out to is more of a imperative like decision. Like we don't know what that looks like yet. I mean, because in Revenge of the Sith we see basically all the scenarios in the Revenge or the Order 66 montage. It's pretty much exclusively clones with the Jedi. I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they don't really show just like the non-Jedi occupied worlds.
Right.
It's just it's meant to just like this is the move to wipe out the Jedi.
Yeah.
So they're gonna show that, which I always found interesting because like they never. I don't think in any of the films they ever address the inhibitor chip at all. I don't think they. I know they don't.
No.
That was a Clone Wars thing only. Yeah.
Yeah, which is always like it was weird because it's just like the clones were fighting like all, and yeah, I guess it could like be from the view of just treachery, deception. If you're just watching the films, but yeah, without like Clone Wars, it's kind of important to know that, and I think just like tying into this arc as well, it's just one of the biggest things. But yeah, it's fascinating. However, that's gonna go. I still think Rex is gonna turn with the chip.
So fascinated by that. Like he has to have that initial moment of turning, which is going to be so.
That's going to be the big scene from Ahsoka's POV. It has to be.
It has to be. Yeah. Like, yeah.
I'm picturing since I say this a lot now. Since Rex has been promoted to commander, he's going to have the direct comlink line from Sidious.
Ouch.
Oh, jeez.
Why would you do this to me?
So you think he'll like look at the hologram?
Like, he's gonna pull up his palm like this.
Is he gonna pull up his palm? That'd be wild if that happened.
Yeah, I think it'll be. I mean, could you imagine like they got Maul in custody? There was progressing stuff, and it's a pretty casual chat with Ahsoka and Rex, and you just kind of just hear the intercom sound come on or on the page, and he just opens it. Just like, oh, I gotta take this. He opens it. Commander Rex, the time has come.
Could you imagine if could you imagine if there's like a scene where his comlink is pinging and then it cuts to like a different scene?
Don't do this.
No.
What do you mean?
Like it cliffhangs us where like
not for an episode, but like
just that scene.
It just puts us into like another point of view scene.
Okay.
Like let's just it cuts to Ahsoka or something.
It's possible. I mean, yeah, like Filoni said, this series has always been about. I mean, the season specifically has always been about Ahsoka and Rex. So I think I'm really hopeful that we see it through Rex's eyes. I hope we don't like deter away from that. I want to see Rex's whole tragedy and what happens to him befall him.
I want to see his POV to turning, and I also want to see his POV of having to accept that all of his brothers are not who.
Oh man.
Yeah. I think what?
Okay, so you guys were talking about like him having to put Cody out of his misery. He's gonna have to put Jesse out of his misery.
But I don't think he ever touched Cody. I don't think he ever touched Cody.
I don't know.
No. It was a theory that we would have to see Rex putting Cody out of his misery, but
oh yeah. Well, now that I've seen how half the arc is completed, where we're at,
there's no way.
We're pretty across the galaxy right now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like Jesse's just gonna stay in line.
What do you mean?
I mean, like, as a member of the Empire now.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So I have a little thing. So in the episode, when they're standing around the hologram Kenobi, there's a little droid that displays the map of Mandalore because they're breaking down.
Yeah.
Who's the droid person?
And I think Rex like leans over to it and like I don't want to play it for copyright, but I
think he turned off the holomap.
Yeah, he turns off the holomap and like sends it away, but it's like it very deliberately cuts like down to the droid's angle. I'm like, what if it just like pops up to the droid or something?
Dang. Yeah, I feel like Ahsoka's gonna just knock out Rex in the next episode. Like as soon as he starts turning, she just like zoom, like knocks him out.
Or like sees. What if she sees him receiving the message or something? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, which is so fascinating because at this point we know. Ahsoka knows who Darth Sidious is now.
Right.
So when she sees that message, maybe she can connect the dots. But it's gonna be too late because all Sidious has to say is like, "Do Order 66." It's like,
well, I think she might see it and be like, "Order 66." Like, what?
That's just like Order 67. Oh crap!
And then maybe his back will be like turned.
Yeah. I mean, we're gonna have to see the super sad scene of Ahsoka.
Yeah.
Or Rex aiming his blaster at Ahsoka. That's just gonna happen, right?
Yeah.
He's gonna be like, good soldiers follow orders.
Do you think in the midst of it,
Brandon, stop.
do you think in the midst of it, Maul's gonna see it starting to take action, and based on Ahsoka's helplessness of having like so limited allies, do you think Ahsoka and Maul are gonna have to team up for an escape?
I
Yes.
freaking
See,
hope so.
this is my other angle to it. I was like, it might force them to, and I would think that would be a super interesting dynamic considering everything that just happened.
Oh yeah, I always found it fascinating that Clone Wars episode where Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Dooku were bound together and they had to escape.
Mm.
That was
This
my
one
favorite
would just
episode.
be-
I remember that episode.
It's so much fun. Yeah, with Hondo and
Yeah,
Hondo
it's so goofy,
effing with
but
him the
so
whole
good.
time. It's so much fun. But yeah, I really hope so. I'm a huge sucker for villains and heroes working together to escape. But at the same time, I can totally see Maul just leaving by himself because he's already that skilled.
Right.
I feel like this could be the potentially last.
And
scene
also, I want
Mhm.
Ahsoka's focus to be more direct on
with
what Rex and what's
Yes.
happening. So I feel like if that team up happens, it may pull away from that central emotional conflict. But I also see there could be a good angle there with having to like team up with her and
yeah.
vent and stuff or whatever when they finally get into a ship or whatever it is.
You
Yeah.
know, another thing that got me, I totally forgot to mention it. When Maul gets knocked out, it's kind of tragic because because he knows what's about to happen. Any hope of him like turning the tide or doing anything about it is gone.
Yeah, he thinks at least. Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, you're right. You're right.
Like, it's
Yeah.
literally gone
Never
because
mind. I
he's
see what you
knocked
mean.
out.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
He's out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's no
I-
more like
kept,
trying to revolt against Sidious.
Yeah, because I kept thinking about just the whole time frame was we start a pretty like bright like day time when we're talking to Obi-Wan that he's going to Utapau, and we know like, and I know like the planet cycles are different, so it makes sense. It's still like same day that he kills Grievous that Order 66 is on Utapau, but we get to the whole planetary's night system rotation on Mandalore, so like it's any moment now, like it's about to get announced
Yep.
across the galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I retweeted this like earlier. Yeah, it's like Ahsoka fighting Maul and like Anakin turning to the dark side at the same time. Meanwhile, Obi-Wan's riding a chicken horse.
Yeah.
Boga.
I saw a parallel of maybe it's season 1 Clone Wars of like Obi-Wan saying we'll be okay if we're together,
Yeah, that's in the
and it's the 3 of them,
in the Mortis.
and
arc.
then
Yeah.
it's the still of Obi-Wan going to battle against Grievous, and then Ahsoka doing the fight in this episode, and then Anakin God, I can't
kneeling
remember what
down. He's like kneeling down to Palpatine at this point.
yeah, or something
Yeah.
like
It's like dang,
Crazy.
The trio is no more. Can we ever have a happy trio in Star Wars? I mean, I guess.
No,
Yeah, never mind.
nothing's happening.
yeah.
I'm not gonna mention it.
Hope is dead. That's the message.
The dead speak.
The dead speak. But
Um,
yeah,
before we wrap up the episode, though, I know we should take to Twitter
Yes.
for there were people that I had asked their favorite moments from the episode. I thought it would be
Sweet.
fun. Viewer engagement, I'm sure they're not going to watch me. Thought it'd be fun. And I know like we might have replies from our different posts sharing it out. So go to the hyperspace one. Tyler says not really a moment, but he just loves the lightsaber battles choreography between Maul and Ahsoka, just how cinematic it was. We absolutely agree. It's a groundbreaking effects of translate.
yeah. Again, incredibly cinematic. Both episodes, 2 episodes in a row, very cinematic storytelling the whole way through.
Absolutely. Vincent says the part where Maul finally realized that Sidious is about to exact his plan across the galaxy, and just how Sam Witwer's voice acting is just so terrific. Just the fluctuation in his voice, the unsettlement, and also the desperation when he's captured. Completely agree. It's just so well done. And also got one from Camilla that says when Maul tells Ahsoka about Anakin, and she didn't believe him, even though we as the audience know all of it is true. Extremely heartbreaking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
One thing I noticed about this episode too, going on, the Anakin stuff is I think Ahsoka may be the only one that refers to Anakin as Anakin in this episode. I think both Almec and Maul keep referring to him as Skywalker,
And
that's just
Obi-Wan,
kind of a little detail that I really liked. Of it just hurts more with her saying Anakin. It's like with when people refer to Ben as Ben and instead of Kylo, it's kind of like that, and you kind of see. It's a little subtle detail.
And then there's one more theory that Josh D. Woodbury put on his Twitter, and he allowed us to put it on the podcast tonight. He says, "I swear to God, if Filoni is going to make us watch Gunji and the other younglings from the Gathering arc get killed in Order 66, I'm just going to quit Star Wars right then and there."
he's not.
No way.
It would.
Picture, if you will.
Do we
Gunji,
care about those Padawans?
Yes. How dare you? How
Do we?
dare you?
Do we? I had no idea what their names were.
In the context of Clone Wars, I just don't see it. I mean, again, anything that we get outside of Rex and Ahsoka's POV is going to be so brief. It's going to be so brief.
I don't think so.
If it
with Order
happens.
66 going on, I'm willing to bet they're going to show us other Jedi getting killed around the
You
galaxy.
have to remember this is a 25-minute show.
Get killed.
They don't introduce they don't introduce Caleb Duke for nothing.
They're not. There's no way. There's no.
Like, we've already seen them get killed. It's called Revenge of the Sith. That came out May 2000.
And there's a man named Dave Filoni who makes people cry.
Yes, watching Ahsoka and Rex.
And a rehash of a shot that we've already seen is not the way to do it.
I think he
new shots. Haha.
I think he mentioned this in the Clone Wars download last week too. Like, this is about Ahsoka and Rex. We're going to see it from their POV. We're not going to see some freaking Padawan get killed by Anakin or clones or whatever. We don't need it.
I've been swayed in this direction too. The last episodes that we've been on, and I've probably been like, oh, I want to see like this connection. But now, more than ever after this episode, I want to see just the POV, and I don't want to see. I want to see overlap in events, but not specific things we've already seen on screen.
Exactly. I think the only overlap is next episode we get the whole Jedi Council saying like the whole Mace Windu line. I forget what he says exactly.
I sense a plot to destroy the. See,
I
think they might at least show Plo Koon's death because.
What?
Hold on, hear me out. Hear me out. Okay, because Plo Koon found Ahsoka when she was little. She's gonna sense it through the Force that he dies.
Yes, she is. By just watching her sense it. Like, we don't need to see it.
Right.
We can.
And that's the other thing I was going to ask. Because in Rebels, when Anakin is brought up to Ahsoka again, and she like kind of is like recollecting on that, do you think there's going to be any sense of like her directly sensing that fall, or do you think it's just going to be too chaotic to even get that specific?
I think she can sense it. I think we'll see that.
Okay.
But again, I think it's just the classic, like, even in Rebels, they zoomed in on Ahsoka. That's what we're going to see, is zoom in on Ahsoka.
Yep.
As she's, even in A New Hope, when Obi-Wan feels like the whole planet blow up, we just zoom in and we do it. Like, we don't need to see, watch me be, like, super incorrect in the next episode. There's, like, tons of...
I would love to see the same shot of when they first come down in the Siege of Mandalore, and we get the hero shot of Ahsoka. This shot on the poster. Like, the same shot as that, but it's like, utterly more tragic and not, like, a superhero landing.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Like, if I'm wrong, I'm just going to go on the podcast. The first thing I say next week is I was wrong. But for right now, I doubt we'll see anything.
Evan, if you see Gunji or Plo Koon, I want you to instantly think of me.
I will definitely think. I will walk out of my seat while I'm eating waffles watching the episode.
If we get Cal Kestis crawling through a pipe,
Cal Kestis, Kanan Jarrus.
Like a Padawan's running, they look up, like, what is that? And then you see Cal Kestis like
above the pipe. It's like, oh, this dude really don't know where he's going.
Oh my god.
Nathan,
I don't think we're gonna see Plo Koon be like, I lost control of my ship.
So I understand. Initially, I wanted to see all these deep connections, but as we progress halfway through this arc, I've also was in the mindset where I really wanted to physically see the invasion of the Capitol, but at this point, I'm just like, I don't need it anymore because we're following such a beautiful storyline.
Thank you, Nathan.
Thank you.
Like a Padawan's running, they look up, like, what is that? And then you see Cal Kestis like above the pipe.
So, I accept what I'm gonna get. I know I'm gonna love it, but if I get a little bonus, cool. I don't need it.
Again, yeah, I could totally be wrong next episode.
I mean,
Filoni's
but
being like, cameo here.
But keep in mind, we do have 2 episodes left.
We sure do. We have Ahsoka.
Yeah, but the
helping out
last
Rex.
episode is gonna be we have to wrap up Clone Wars, and also it's gonna be Ahsoka and Rex like doing whatever they need to do to like whatever the post world looks like for them.
Yeah, I think next episode we're going to see a lot of Ahsoka, Rex, the Jedi Council talking about what's going on.
Gunji.
And it's Maul's. It's going to be Maul's last episode.
Maul's last episode too. Agree.
Yep.
Maybe Maul
should come out on top too, because he's going to be leading Crimson Dawn at a point. So
yeah, again, does another tragedy for Maul? Like he seems to be doing good in Solo, leading Crimson Dawn. I wonder what happens between then and him and Rebels, where he goes back to just looking for a Kenobi.
Right.
I can't just sit down. But
must know
Empire stuff probably. I would love it because Palpatine just kept sending like squads after those parts of the galaxy.
Oh yeah, I mean, Palpatine did send a Inquisitor to kill Maul, and Maul killed that Inquisitor.
Which Inquisitor was it?
It's a no-name Inquisitor. Remember?
The dude with it's not the guy with it is the guy with the helicopter. It's the lady with the helicopter.
Before that, he already has a red lightsaber from an Inquisitor. It's like
gotcha.
It's like he uses it for a cane when he meets.
Yeah.
So off screen, he killed an Inquisitor.
I'm just remembering the helicopter lightsabers from Rebels. It's so good.
So that's great. We have been talking this episode for hour 16, and surprise, surprise, there actually is other Star Wars news.
Really?
What? Yeah.
I totally forgot about that.
Let's go ahead and
other Star Wars not animated? What?
Let's go ahead and kick off with the big news. And despite when I said big news, Carson, that doesn't mean the audio drama just yet.
Hey.
That is big news. That is big news.
Hey, they finally hired a woman. This is great news.
I know.
That is the big news. The big news is we are getting a newly announced Disney Plus series from the maker of Russian Dolls, whose name?
Evan's like, yeah.
I'm bad with names. What is it?
Me too. Is Leslie something? Highland?
Yeah.
How should we say that?
We are so professional.
I know. Yeah, we're the best.
And let me just kick this off.
I have Leslie Hayland on my phone. I could be completely wrong.
We talk about this discussion, once every few episodes of like Kathleen Kennedy saying that she's going to hire women and people of color, and it's going to happen. It's going to happen. But honestly, I'm finally getting like people like Deborah Chow, Rick Famuyiwa, Bryce Dallas Howard, and now this girl finally getting her own show, and she was at the Rise of Skywalker premiere, which is awesome.
Yeah, they've been doing.
And that quote going around with her talking about kind of like her interpretation of Star Wars is really great. And I haven't seen Russian Doll. Was Russian Doll? Is that what it's called?
I haven't seen
I read the summary synopsis on Netflix, and it instantly sounds amazing. I really want to check it out.
But my thing is, I think The Last Jedi was Kathleen Kennedy's swan song, but I think her legacy of leaving Lucasfilm will be how she's empowering these new voices and kind of leaving a new imprint of how Star Wars is going to thrive on Disney Plus and these new formats, and kind of like I think she's setting up really well. I know, of course, this series could not even come to fruition, creative differences, blah, blah, blah. And we're going to talk about that with the Cassian thing. But I'm just really glad that we're kind of finally getting in the right direction with these kind of creators. And I think it's the right move.
I couldn't agree more. This is 2 in a row. While this is not official yet, Star Wars hasn't officially posted yet. I hope they officially do soon, because this is great news. This is great press. This is the exact opposite of the Joe B. Harrell, whatever I forget his name on Joe B. Harrell, whatever the guy's name was. That was bad press. That's the kind of press you don't want going around, especially after Rise of Skywalker. But this is great press. This is 2 in a row where their next series are directed by females. Like you had Deborah Chow doing Kenobi, and now you have Leslie doing this mysterious other Disney series or Star Wars series set in a different time period, which makes it all more exciting, because this is what we want. This is why I'm most excited for Rian Johnson's potential movie, if he ever does that, because it's set in a different time period, a different time than what we're used to. And it's so refreshing because after we get Cassian and after we get Kenobi, this is what I want from Star Wars.
Yeah, I think Kathy finally understands that. I think she at first they were like, okay, I think Star Wars has come back with a bang, and a lot of fans, are clamoring for like, oh, what if we told this story in between this and this, and what does that look like? But I think that now realizing how big Star Wars is and how much room there is to tell new stories and give a new voice to a new generation of people, and I think that like that's going to be the future of Star Wars, and I'm so glad that. Of course, we still get stories that are in the timeline we know, and we're going to talk about that with the Dr. Aphra audio thing and all these other stories that we're getting. But it's so cool that we're getting news or potentially scoops about these things that are going to take place outside the timeline we know. It just makes me happy to be a Star Wars fan right now.
I think it's best, like you said, there's more than just it's more Star Wars than just the Skywalker era.
Yep,
like bring it back. So. That's why I'm really glad they're going to an entirely new era.
Yep.
Instead of filling in the just gaps here and there.
Yeah, and let's remember we're only year 5 of Lucasfilm. I mean, of Disney only in Lucasfilm,
which is crazy. It feels like
year 8 so much.
Yeah,
we're technically on year 8, but like since the first movie came out 5 years, but they've owned it since 2012.
But since the part started rolling out, since
and the first canon thing was the
Tarkin novel.
Yeah.
That was in like late 2014. No, that was A New Dawn. I think A New Dawn before Tarkin, maybe. But either way,
was that 2013 or 2014? I can't remember, but
I think it was 14. Then it moved into 15 with the Tarkin novel. But so yeah, I'm really happy that once we're finally away from these character-centric stuff, we move into different time periods.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I don't have much to add to that. You guys have said a lot.
It's hard to speculate because we don't have no idea what the character would be. It's a totally different time period. It's kind of like the High Republic. You can't really speculate.
I would be down if it took place in the High Republic. I think that could be.
Yeah, and that was one option that I like that.
Yeah,
I think it's a good stepping stone introducing this new canon material, and then we'll dip our toe into the live action realm of it. I think that could be fun. Doesn't have to specifically be ones that are introduced in the novels and comics, but around that time period, which I think would be great.
And again, that's why you can just build out a whole era in different mediums, and that's why I think it's so exciting.
Exactly. I think the only thing Variety mentioned was that it was about a female fighting force. What is?
Yeah, there was martial arts quotes dropped around, which is interesting.
Yeah, that's probably the only thing. Yeah, that sounds awesome to me.
Yeah. In additional news, regards to Mandalorian.
Ooh.
I was hearing somebody brought up that there was Mandalorian news.
There is.
Yes.
Season 3.
Season 3 has been announced and in pre-production.
Pre-production.
All right.
Yeah. Which is crazy to me.
Speculate.
It's not. It shouldn't be crazy to me, but it is. I mean, Jon Favreau is a workaholic. He's moving from Lion King to Mandalorian season 2, and now Mandalorian season 3. I mean, like when he's in quarantine, what else are you gonna do? So,
yeah, I think this is his this passion project in a lot of ways is, I think first and foremost it was Iron Man and bringing that to life, but the Star Wars fan in him, combined with his experience as a creator, has kind of truly brought him to like a perfect crossroads in his career to do this type of thing. And that just makes me so excited. Oh, also we have the news of the behind the scenes show dropping on May the 4th. We got a trailer for it actually, which looks awesome.
And I was happy that my hopefulness was correct, that it is going to be roundtable style, which I love.
Yeah.
Both with the directors and the main cast on their own.
Yeah, I love that. Having the directors just talk.
Yeah, different round tables for different segments would be cool.
Absolutely.
So
cannot wait for that.
Where do you guys? So we have the whole female-centric Star Wars show, and now we have Mandalorian season 3 announced. Let's talk about release dates. When do we think those are going to happen? I mean, I feel like right now we have Mandalorian season 2 coming out this year. Next year, possibly Cassian Andor. That's what it's shaping up to be like. And then 2022 seemed to be Kenobi. So are we saying 2023 for?
I wonder if they'll shift around when Mando will premiere. Because we know season 2 is supposed to drop starting this out October, was it?
Yeah.
Do you guys think by the time we hit season 3, they may move to a more mid-year range?
Are you saying May 2020?
Like what if it went to like the realm between premiering somewhere between say February and June?
Well, if production's already moving along, it all depends on how quickly everything, the world gets back to the way it's supposed to be. It all depends on that.
But if like we were talking like in the how things would normally go, like because it's the same way like before the whole shakeup of releases. How like you would have a new introduced film like Doctor Strange, which came out in November, and then they were set to have the sequel premiere like smack in the middle of summer in May.
Right, and I think it could earn that like big summer. I mean, it's different with Disney Plus, and I think that's an advantage to them because they can look at it and be like, okay, we can spread this out however much we want. I mean, granted, considering all the production stuff, but they could put. I would not be, and Joseph saying in the comment, May 2022, I could see that. I could see Cassian being fall 2021. And then, fall.
Yeah, fall 2021 makes sense for Cassian.
And then Mando season 3 getting, a couple extra months on polishing off their post-production and coming out in spring 2022.
Yeah. I think
that was a previous thing we had brought up. Do you guys think they'll get into the realm of debuting multiple Star Wars shows within the year?
Yeah, with all these shows coming out, I think that's going to happen, especially with Mando's.
I think it's good to keep the
season 3 now. So if Mando season 3 doesn't come out next year, then we're definitely going to see it with what's it called in 2022 with Kenobi.
Yeah, you know what's crazy is everyone's still saying that this Rebels sequel is still coming out at the end of this year, which is like we haven't heard jack about, which I'm thinking obviously, and they're waiting for Clone Wars. David's waiting for Clone Wars to be over, obviously.
Yeah,
but
I don't know if it's gonna premiere. I feel like an announcement would come.
Yeah, but it's super interesting that because that would be on the cards too. It's like you have a whole other series, and I'm sure there's more in the works animation wise. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot, and it's gonna be.
I completely forgot about the
right. Like where do you put that against Mandos? I mean, granted, we had Rise of Skywalker. We still had an episode of Mandalorian left in it. I think it. I don't think either of them affected each other in the sense, but that's the kind of beauty of having Disney Plus. But there's gonna be a lot of shows that I think they're gonna have to space out.
My theory is, I think I agree with Nathan here that maybe a tease in the fall this year, and then it'll be Rebels sequel kind of premiering the same time we're getting Clone Wars right now, like that February range for the Rebels sequel, which is going to be.
Oh, hasn't Rebels always aired? And I guess it depends. Actually, they won't be on like Disney XD anymore, so it won't matter for fall TV schedule. Nope. So, yeah, I think it'll be
its own schedule.
Yep.
Yeah. And like with multiple shows throughout the year, I think that just bodes well from a business standpoint for Disney Plus itself to have consistent content for viewership to keep subscription.
Definitely.
So I feel like it all has the chips fallen into place. So now we also have some news regarding Cassian. We will first touch on the cool news before the shaky news. Cool news being that the actress who played Mon Mothma in Rogue One, as well as deleted scenes from Revenge of the Sith, will be reprising her role in the Cassian Andor series.
Okay,
yes,
this is the
yes,
first.
yes.
This is all right. This upcoming news is this is the first I've heard of it. So this is awesome.
Oh yeah.
Wait, you didn't read any of it?
Work was crazy tonight. I didn't get a chance to really look at it in the news, but that's awesome.
Yeah, Genevieve O'Reilly as Mon Mothma coming back. Something I was always like optimistic that could possibly happen. Also in the same veil of like guessing maybe if you get like Bail Organa or somebody.
Get Jimmy Smits back. Make it happen.
Please.
I think it's only a matter of time at this point because we kind of all speculated that Mon Mothma was going to show up, but it's so freaking awesome to get a confirmation
absolutely
in here. Like hopefully we get more of the. I've only seen Rogue One like once or twice, but hopefully we get more. Hopefully, we get more of those same people from Rogue One in this movie. Like somebody on Twitter was saying, like the blue leader or yellow leader. I forget who's in that movie.
Oh yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Leader.
I think this show is going to have a political. I speak about this every week. We talk about Cassian, but a political thriller edge to it, and I think we're going to get some good, juicy politics scenes.
Well, if we want some people back, Evan, good news. Tony Gilroy.
Oh man, the best
wait.
Star Wars fan in the world, Tony Gilroy, guys.
The guy who's like, I didn't even think Rogue One was a Star Wars movie. It's more of a Britain War movie.
Oof.
Which is okay. It's crazy to me that he's even up for this.
Oh no.
So
he helped put Rogue One on the map.
Maybe
I know,
maybe
but
his
any
ideal-
quote from him has been negative about Star Wars as a whole. I just don't know where his passion is. I can't read the guy.
Maybe his ideal, and this isn't completely a bad thing, depending on how you would look at it. Maybe his whole ideal is just like, I'm set to make a story that I think is very well told. It just happens to have a Star Wars skin over it, which isn't horrible of an idea. I mean, obviously you want people to care about your franchise, and and that's what you would always get from every interview. Like, yes, I'm such a big Star Wars fan. I grew up with the franchise, and that's not like a horrible thing. That's great when you like care about the source material.
You do need people like that can be come in and be objective with screenplays and stuff, and be like, oh well, it works from a Star Wars perspective, or a fan sees this, but other people or people that are newer to different things can see it a different way.
Sure, and in the same sense, and I know there was a whole like cross, because did Tony Gilroy take over from Gareth? Was that the story?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. See, now I don't know who it would be the toss up with, if it's even either of them, or if it's just creative set team that would like hop in Star Wars Easter eggs when it comes to like Chopper in the background or something like that, and the Ghost.
Yeah. See, that's why I'm very curious to see who they get for the directors of these episodes.
Yeah.
Because all we know right now is the showrunner and the writers, and that he's possibly doing the pilot. But I don't know. I like Tony Gilroy. I like his. I mean, I don't like Rogue One, so I'll just say that. But I do like what he did with the Bourne trilogy. He wrote.
Yeah.
I think he only wrote the Bourne trilogy, right, Carson? I don't think he directed.
Yeah, I think he wrote.
I think he just wrote the trilogy.
2 of them or
I
3
need
of
to
them.
rewatch the trilogy.
It's a fantastic trilogy. I think he directed the 4th one, which I didn't like.
I've seen the trilogy, but I only really resonated with the first one, so I think I need to do a revisit on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
this should be.
I mean, a lot of people like Rogue One. I like Rogue One too. I don't actually. I'm lying, but it has its good moments.
I don't hate it. So.
But I don't know. And apparently now we have Dan Gilroy writing too. I mean, what has Dan Gilroy done? I think I did a quick IMDb on him. He hasn't done much that I'm pretty much proud of. So I don't know. I'm very skeptical right now. But at least we have Stephen Schiff, who was the showrunner from The Americans. At least he is still set to write, according to Variety.
He's still set to write? Okay.
Yeah, which I didn't know about. Somebody tweeted me. I think he's still writing a couple episodes, I guess. Or at least he's getting a writing credit. So I don't know. Is the show going to be as political as, I don't know, as similar to The Americans as I once thought? Because Bourne is a very fast-moving
action-paced, yeah.
Especially Bourne Supremacy, the second one. That's much more of a straightforward action film compared to like Bourne Ultimatum.
I think that, well, speculating here, apparently he redid the entire 3rd act of Rogue One.
Which is all action.
Which is pretty much all action. I mean, there's some great slow moments and pausing moments with Jyn and Cassian, and
you're right.
With Ben Mendelsohn on the top of the tower, and Shirat Imwe, I am one with the Force with me. I love those moments, but again, it's so hard to, especially with how much over like analyzed Rogue One was from the perspective of like, oh, what's happening behind the scenes. It's like impossible to pinpoint what actually he did at this point. So this whole story is kind of a waiting game for me.
Good point. Yeah.
Should be interesting. However, this will go down. It'll be interesting because without even I don't think Gareth has any involvement in this, does he?
No.
No.
I mean, to be honest, where has Gareth Edwards been since Rogue One?
Well, he's got that new sci-fi movie. Remember, we went over this last time.
You keep reminding me, and I keep forgetting. So you have to remind me next week too, Carl.
I'll
He has
send you
no-
the Hollywood
he has no-
Reporter article.
He has no
You're-
presence in the media or
There's so much sci-fi movies in development right now. I can't keep track of who's doing what these days.
Well, with all the shifting release dates, what can you keep track of?
Good point, dude. Good point.
It's tiring, honestly. But
It
you know, it should be interesting. However, this is going to play out in the development. But I'm just continuously intrigued to see how it's going to pay off. I'm intrigued to see because we saw how successful a debut Mandalorian was and how like great of a season it was. I'm intrigued to see how furthering live action shows go forward and their different tones and stuff and their different creatives. But it's all very exciting, whether it is Cassian Kenobi or this new female centric one, which I'm excited for all of them. It's going to be interesting and it's also going to be our main lifeline before we get to our next film in a few years, if it's not even pushed back to say.
Don't even say that.
I don't want to. I'm scared. But
Yeah, it still has the same release date as Aquaman, by the way. Pretty funny.
oh, well,
That's
Who's gonna
right.
budge first?
what? So, okay. Well, I guess like a fun, quick look. What do you think would move first? $1 billion Aquaman or new Star Wars property?
Aquaman. Or no, I think Star Wars moves, actually.
Star Wars.
Yeah.
Aquaman made more than The Rise of Skywalker.
Aquaman is
still
really
seems to be
popular.
okay.
But Aquaman still has Amber Heard hired right now.
Oh my gosh.
The fact that the account shouted her out, I was like,
Dude, oh my
People are gonna go
God.
see the movie
They're like,
regardless.
we hope you have a fantastic birthday.
People are gonna go see the movie. People saw Fantastic Beasts. I'm like, people are gonna go see the movie regardless. They don't care.
But they were like,
They
we hope
don't
you have
care.
a fantastic
It
birthday.
doesn't matter.
Really? Yeah.
She doesn't
no.
deserve a
doesn't
fantastic
matter.
birthday.
but that's not Star Wars now, is it?
You brought it up.
I didn't bring up her. I
You brought up Aquaman by association.
Oh, geez.
Okay.
This
Well,
can make $1 billion anyways.
it is.
But yeah. Sorry.
It's almost
The
3 a.m.
show. That's the show. It's
No.
been hour 36.
Dr. Aphra.
That's right. Oh God, I'm sorry.
Great.
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
excited. Let's move on.
I'm sorry. Yeah, he's right. It's 2:27 a.m. I'm thrown off.
I'm sorry it's past your bedtime. But yeah.
Well, no, I got lost on the rabbit hole of all this talk, and it's been an hour 37. But by all means, we're gonna keep going because this is important.
The
I
show
love-
goes on.
I love Dr. Aphra, so hearing this news is fantastic. And I'm gonna switch it over to Carson because of his love of this different type of platform.
Yes.
Take it away, my guy.
Back when we were talking about Project Luminous, God, the 2 years that it took to finally get information on it.
Publishing.
The publishing panel of Chicago, we won't mention.
Ooh.
Anyways, I was like, I am so happy that Kevin Scott is back, but he's doing a comic. I'm sad that he's not doing an audio format because it was like the coolest thing that came out in the publishing space last year was that audio drama, the full cast. It was terrific. And so I'm like, they need to do more of that. And all we had from Del Rey was like, oh, if another story comes up in the future. And I was like a reply to a tweet. And now we get this cool announcement out of nowhere that they're coming out with this Dr. Aphra. I believe it's a extended adaptation of the Evan knows way more about the character than I do.
Yeah.
Where does it take place?
It's an adaptation of her origin story, not origin story per se, but her introduction to Darth Vader when she meets him in the 2015 to 2016 comic book.
Okay. Yeah. See, I just picked up Dr. Aphra issues like 1 through 7 or 1 through 8, whatever the bundle is. I haven't dove into it yet, but I need to, and I'm excited to get to know this character. I'm gonna try to get through a lot of the runs before this book. It comes out in July. I forgot to mention this book comes out in July.
Yeah.
And who is the author? I didn't even mention the author.
The writer is Sarah Kuhn.
Okay. And I don't know if I've read any of her stuff, but
I don't think so. Yeah, I can't
I have to check out her Twitter, but exciting news. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm super thrilled. Like I was yelling when this was announced. I mean, this is the kind of stuff I love. I really can't wait to see what kind of voice actress they get for Dr. Aphra, because I've had her in my head for
for
5
so
years
long.
now. So it's crazy. I'm like, and it's so funny because this is a character that was introduced in the Darth Vader comic book. And usually when these kind of characters are introduced, you're like, okay, I'll see them for a few chapters. And I loved her
Yeah,
instantly when I saw her. I'm like, okay, she's a great character. And what makes her even more better is her morality. It's like she's like she says she has no emotion, but she does, and she always
right.
flips plops between her morals and her sidekicks. What is the name? BT and 01 or 000 and BT.
The two droids.
The two crazy droids, the two
That's
deadliest droids in the galaxy. So yeah, I'm super excited. I love Dr. Aphra as a character. I was just rereading her introduction last night to prepare. I love those comic books. I love her introduction. I mean, yeah, she's the one who helps tell Darth Vader about that Luke is his son. That was how that whole reveal came out, or that Luke was Anakin's son, not Vader's son.
Right.
Yeah, same thing. So yeah, I'm very excited to see the cast come together. The audio dramas are excellent. I loved Dooku Jedi Lost. Is one of my favorite canon stories in general.
All the audio dramas.
Yes.
Yeah, no, it's fascinating. I need to get on Dooku Jedi Lost because you guys keep gushing about the audio drama format, which
You'll love it. It's
I've
incredible.
heard formats like that before, and they are great formats. And we got a question here from Joseph regarding it.
You think they would turn her one scene? I think he's referring to when she kissed. Maybe there's that scene when she kissed the admiral, who they fell in love. Kind of. They always go back and forth. They have like this love story going on between the admiral.
I don't think they will, especially if it's in the.
Yeah, they don't need to tone it down.
If it's an audio format, I'm sure they.
Yeah, they don't care. They're embracing that. Yeah, she's an awesome character.
But is it too woke? No.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna die if I hear that one more time.
Exactly, it's the worst.
I mean, Claudia Gray puts certain content in her books. So.
Exactly. Yeah. What's her name? The girl from The Last Jedi, the admiral that died.
Holdo?
Holdo. Wasn't she like known to be, or she likes all the aliens, right? Or I forget what the term is called, but yeah, she wasn't heterosexual.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah.
Fun times.
I love how we're talking about Clone Wars, and like all of our sequel trilogy knowledge just goes out the window.
Exactly right. I'm like, what's the name? The movie I've seen 1,000 times.
Is there a
Battle of Chiron, Admiral Holdo?
Yonto.
Do some real damage or something. I don't know.
No.
Oh, man.
Yeah, no. It'll all be quite fascinating. But in regards to that, I do believe that is everything.
I think so. A packed.
Oh, you forgot about Galaxy of Adventure, sir.
Nope. We will cover that another time. Thank you very much. But we're going to wait for these episodes to build up so we can do a bulk review of these episodes.
I have not seen the new Galaxy of Adventure.
I actually did watch it.
I want to.
It's still
I know
listening.
it's a film show. I watched it through without audio because I was off world. But yeah, it was a
good one.
Can we just wait to do a bulk review of like buildup of episodes, please?
They're all different. It's all retelling the same movies. It doesn't. I don't think there's really much of a deep dive until like they introduce new specific content or
segments. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. Spoiler alert: Finn and Poe are best friends, guys.
Oh, but he wears.
In a Galaxy of Adventures, gay couples are only friends.
Oh
all
my
the comments were like, "Are they really just friends?"
Can you imagine the narration?
Nathan's just like, I'm done.
Honest trailers, but honest Galaxy of Adventure.
Oh man.
But yeah, that's pretty good. An hour 45 minutes. That's a good run. That might be our longest run.
It is. And Joseph, thank you so much for sticking around and staying with us, man.
Yeah, it's 2:34 a.m. That's crazy. At least
Thank you. Another shout out.
Honest Galaxy, love it.
Honest Galaxy, yes.
Honest Galaxy, let's go. I clicked the wrong thing because like the chat moved. We have fun here. Yeah, so it was really fun episode. A lot of great talk, and it's only the first half of the arc. There's a whole second half of a whole lot of heartbreak ahead of us. I guarantee it. But in regards to that, any closing thoughts, Evan, and where can they find you?
You guys can find me at Harris EV9 on Twitter. We only have 2 more episodes of the Clone Wars before we go back into all the Star Wars drought until Mandalorian comes out. So we'll savor it while we're last. So yeah, find me at Harris EV9 on Twitter.
Brandon?
You guys can find me at Phantasmic Ears, FANTASMIC Ears on Twitter. I tweet about the Star Wars. I am an avid retweeter, and yeah, if you want to go hit me up over there, I'm there.
Excellent. Carson?
You guys can find me on Twitter at the Force Critic. And yeah, 2 more episodes left of Clone Wars. Meanwhile, we've gone through like 4 arcs in 1 episode in our hyperspace, time-wise. But yeah, just excited to. Almost done with Resistance. Actually, have 3 more episodes left.
Hell yeah!
And so there'll be a breakdown of that. Hopefully next week, I'll do a full non-spoiler review of season 2 and just talk about Resistance in general.
Excellent. And as always, you can find me here fumbling around with my Legos. Just fit on the show. No, but all seriousness, my channel here, so you can find me along here as well as in the description below, all social media. I've been reacting to all the Clone Wars very excitedly, and I guarantee the next couple of reactions you won't want to miss because you'll get to see me cry. Guarantee. But a lot of fun stuff. You can find us all linked in the description below. And from all of us here at Hyperspace Hype, if you did enjoy our show, we are live every Friday evening to Saturday morning, and our episodes are always up by Saturday, so you can catch us there. And if you did enjoy, hit the like button, subscribe for now. That being said, hope you have a great day. May the Force be with you always.
Bye, everyone.